First racket of the day is the six economists' predictions about the 2020 housing market. Couple of key things. They say supply and demand is going to continue to be a problem. I like that Inman highlighted, and this is a Marion McPherson article, which of course we'll link up below. I like that she highlighted there is lackluster. I don't believe that we have a supply and demand issue. I believe we have an issue with the supply that's currently available in most markets. Either it's overpriced, it's too much of a luxury item, or it's not where location or condition where the buyers want to see it in today's market.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think we've always talked about the fact that, especially because millennials are sort of coming into that lower end market, that, and again, sort of like that HGTV issue where everyone wants everything pretty. I mean, buyers want it all. They want everything pretty. And if you've been living in your house for 30 years and haven't touched your dark trim, it's a little bit of an issue for sure.
Yeah, and the six economists, Mark Fleming, first American chief economist, Daryl Fairweather, the Redfin chief economist, the Realtor.com chief economist, George Ratu, Len Kifer, Freddie Mac, Lawrence Yun, NAR, and then Jeff Tucker, Zillow. So these are all big name companies that we should be paying attention to as real estate agents in our industry. Their chief economists are the six individuals that Inman interviewed for this piece. And to your point, Nicole, they're talking about millennials a lot in here. They say the bulk of the millennials are going to be turning 30 in 2020, and that's a trigger age for people to buy. The millennials are people that are born from 81 to 97. So I'm closer to the older end of the millennials. Nicole, do you get in? I forget. We've done this before. Do you get in?
I'm
What do
81.
you mean? Yes, you're
I
81.
am. I'm
So
in.
according
I'm
to this
in.
piece, you're in with
I'm
the millennials.
in.
You are the godmother
I made
of the millennials. All right.
That's funny. Yes.
So the bulk of millennials are turning 30, or a lot of them. That's a huge range for me to believe that the bulk. They don't give an exact number there. But is 30 a trigger age for people, Nicole, or is that a racket?
No, I absolutely believe. Again, what's it really? So, as a godmother, I feel like our trigger age,
As the godmother.
the godmother. I mean, my trigger age was honestly younger. I was like 25, 26. I do think though it's interesting though because growing up, my parents always said, Nicole, like figure out what you want to do by the time you're 30. So I guess it kind of makes sense. Like you take your 20s to sort of figure your way out. You kind of have a little bit more leeway, but yeah, I mean, I do think that by 30, you're finally realizing that, I mean, you don't have your parents' health insurance anymore, and it's time to sort of
26.
step up and do your thing.
The other big one here, this is a huge prediction. 1 in 4 offers will go into bidding wars in 2020, these six economists say, where in 2019, we only saw 1 in 10 offers go to a bidding war. That one there really opened my eyes. I'm like, yeah, I'd love to see that. We're holding anywhere from 60 to 70 listings
Right.
within our team, Nicole and I,
Yep.
here locally in Connecticut. The other thing that could help like people like us in our market, even though they don't mention Connecticut, they mention secondary cities like Tampa and I think Charlotte, some of these different cities they mentioned in the article. But secondary markets are going to win. People getting pushed out of bigger cities, and they're going to go into these secondary markets on a local level. If you're somebody that's not in a big city, but you're in the suburbs or a smaller town that's say 1 to 2 hours driving distance to major cities, you could see a bump up in values as well as people start to get pushed out of their desired towns. So both of those predictions I thought were really good for the market. 1 in 4 offers receiving bidding wars. That gets a little bit crazy because some of the buyers that are on that lower end now can't afford the property that they maybe could have just last year.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Right?
I think also to sort of piggyback a little bit that secondary market, it's interesting though too because I mean we've always talked about. I mean obviously we are in Connecticut and our market is very different than the rest of the country, but I do think that we've run into a few people though that are actually now coming to Connecticut, or states that aren't as I'm blanking on the word, that aren't as competitive, because they're then able to get jobs though too. So it'll be super interesting to see, what ends up happening. Like you're saying, like you're having to move out of these cities, but it's going to be interesting to see, sort of where the jobs start popping up too as a result of the housing as well.
Yeah, ultimately, jobs are going to drive it. They did mention wages have, improved a little bit. Not just jobs in a certain area, people are going to, uh, you know, go to those areas no matter what. They're going to follow jobs. All right.